the dump has nothing to do with what we're coming to this board here for today. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just, just looking over the audience. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what we're asking for today. And to answer the question of Mr. Grant, there was an environment. We did know that there was a landfill there. Everybody knew lives in CDP. There was 2 environmental studies done, and they both came below the required DEP cleanup standards. I actually sent an email to Mr. Fred to a summary of those 2, so you guys could have them. I don't know if you were given them this morning or if you guys got those or not.
Yeah, stuff.
Okay, I know it's a lot to take in. There's a lot of details that are getting confused in this meeting because a lot of these folks that are asking questions don't really fully understand what we're trying to do. I'd like to pull up the map again, but another thing Ms. Tony mentioned was commercial use. This particular parcel that we're trying to exchange with the district is never going to be used for commercial activities whatsoever. The parcel that we have purchased from Mr. Dennis is a piece of private land, and I do have an agricultural building that is constructed on that particular parcel, which I went through the proper means of going to the building department and applying for an ag exemption permit to build that. I am a clam farmer. I have commercial boats. I don't plan to have a clam shop out there. I don't know where that kind of got construed, but I wanted a place to park my vessels, and keep things, my tractor, and just different things we use for mowing and things like that. And so we built the barn. There was some complaints after this whole thing came out with Swanee River Water Management. A bunch of folks started going out to the property and started complaining to the county. And through county research, the county realized that they had made a mistake by issuing me that permit. And we're currently remedying that as we speak. And I think Mr. Bills talked to some of you guys about that situation. I want to make it clear too on Sue's comments that there was an Aquaculture Association meeting that was called as an emergency meeting the day before the Swanee River Water Management meetings down in Cedar Key. Those meetings, the chairman of those meetings, he knew that I wasn't going to be able to attend, and Ms. Sue and a couple of them brought this up and kind of gave the board like part of the facts of what was going on. Didn't tell them even who I was or what was really going on. And so they wrote the letter that you guys have sitting here, kind of not knowing really what was happening 100%. They knew about 50% of the whole deal. So there was another emergency meeting called by the chairman, and we have been talking. They've got all the facts, and they're in the middle of actually sending questions to the district to get some more information before they make a decision on what they're going to do to write a letter. So I wanted to clear that up. So there will be another comment from the Aquaculture Association. I am a member of the Aquaculture Association and have been since I've been started clamming. And so nothing we're doing here is going to negatively affect water quality, or nothing we're asking for here would negatively affect water quality. In fact, all the water that surrounds this property is in prohibited waters. And the only way that would affect water quality is if the land actually touched waters that were open to shellfish harvest. Now we can go into a big water quality talk about all that, but we've had experts come in and talk about that, and they've made that real clear to the Aquaculture Association that nothing we're proposing here would affect water quality. After talks with Sue in the past, she had mentioned to me that if we could get we weren't real far off what we were trying to do, and she had mentioned to me that she would support closing the access to this property at one time. I don't know if she's changed her view on that. And we're not asking this property to be surplus. I want to make that real clear. I never wanted this property to be surplus. I wanted to go to the district to make an exchange of lands, because if you surplus property, then it has to go up to a public bid system, and that opens it up to another big, huge can of worms. The only reason why Diane and I went to the district, because we own the land right there in the middle, and we just thought it would be a good idea to, try to get the land on either side of us to keep people from driving through our yard. That's what Diane was kind of trying to articulate to you guys. It just makes sense to us because it's such a narrow piece of property. And we did know that there was a special use authorization permit, which we were fine with. We were perfectly fine with that. If the management district in the Lower Swanee Refuge would have just left it alone, we wouldn't be sitting here today. The management district or the Lower Swanee Wildlife Refuge was really pushing to open this up for daytime public access. I don't know if you really caught that point I was making, and that's why the negotiations and the talks started happening because of that. We didn't want, just like Diane said, everybody just coming out there with no record of who's coming in and out of your land. You know what I'm saying? It becomes an unsafe situation. Andrew commented on that a little bit about it being, public safety or the public access being compromised because of the fact that the management district allowed us to buy that land. If they really wanted to have it open to the public, they should have purchased that land and they should have made it a park or whatever they were gonna do with it. But they didn't buy that land and they let us buy it. And if they would have just left it the way it was, we wouldn't be here. We actually went to them and we had a easement, the easement moved. The easement actually doesn't continue to go through the center of the property, it goes on the north end of the property. The reason why it's not showing up in the public record part of it is because it hasn't been finalized. If this deal, whatever the deal happens, if it doesn't go through, that has already been approved by the board, and the easement will continue, actually won't continue to the center of the property, it'll go to the north end.
Excuse me, did you just say that you purchased the property from the water management district?
No, we bought it from Mr. Andy Andrews, but the management district had the first right of refusal on it. So we actually approached the management district and got them to relinquish their first right of refusal before we could purchase the land. You understand that?
I understand, but there was confusion
Oh,
because
okay.
you're saying that it was their fault.
Well, no, I didn't say it was their fault that we bought the land. I'm saying if they wanted to open it up for daytime public access, they should have thought about that before they let us buy the land. They let us buy the land. They had the first right to purchase the property. And they relinquished their right and let us buy the property from Mr. Dennis. Okay, let's see here. There was a comment also that Ms. Sue made about this setting precedents, and you made the comment also. The district reserves the right as property owners to sell any land that they want to sell. Just like you or I do, and just anybody. They're not coming out here and just entertaining just any idea. This is a unique situation. They're not just, this is not gonna set some precedents. Anybody can go to the district at any time and offer to buy lands from them. It's your constitutional right. You know, we don't wanna, I wouldn't think this board would wanna sit up here today, and I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do, don't take me wrong. But like, you know, Mr. Mike said about, are we going to dictate to people what they can do, you know, with their personal rights, or are we, or like Diane said, are we Americans? I mean, we don't wanna turn into, you know, something that we're not. I wanted to make that understandable. Let's see here. Now Mr. Rock said something about there was an advertising concern. This property was advertised on the Swanee River, the Swanee River Water Management website. I actually included a map in my presentation. I don't know if you've seen it. Anybody can go to that. Yes. I don't know. Anybody can go to those websites and see what land management has for public access. And it tells you what you can do and what you cannot do. Why some of these folks haven't been able to figure that out. That's, you know, could the management district do more as far as advertising? Yeah, they can spend a lot of money and they can put signs up on every particular parcel they have. They can open it up and they can put bathroom facilities and gazebos and different things down there. But like, you know, Ms. Sue said, or somebody said here today about it not costing the district any money, it's gonna cost the district a lot of money to open this up for public access. Let me think here. There's a lot that was said. Another thing that was brought up by Miss Mandy Offerly was that that somehow the land was being used for commercial activities. We talked about that for a second. What we're asking for is to keep the land under conservation. We're not trying to buy the land and build on it. It has nothing to do with what I said with the property that we already own, which you guys don't well know that we're going to build a home on. And there's going to be no commercial activities. The land will stay just the way it is. It will not affect water quality in any way. Now, if I can pull this up real quick, I think I might have a compromise that you guys can all agree to. If you look right here, this particular map right here, what I was actually wanting to go back to the district because of this whole situation. I mean, this has just got just way out of control, in my opinion. Is to actually go back to the district and instead of offering to purchase the fee interest portion of this property, which would mean we would own the two little zones you see right there highlighted in red. Let them retain ownership of their land. They keep it, it's their land. Let me exchange them there's two parts of public access that I don't think that people understand. There's the part of public access to where that allow the special use access that allows you to open the gate and drive in and use the kayak launch at the end of the road. And then there's access that people can just use. Anybody here, anybody in the public can walk on any of the district lands at any time they want. So if we was to let them retain the ownership of this land, right here, well, you can't see it on the board, I'll do it right here. So right here and right here, they keep the ownership of that. They just trade us public access easements for that other parcel that I showed you down here, which will create the kayak launch. We'll do it at no cost. We'll basically give them an easement across this property and maintain it. It'll stay in, basically I'll still own the property, but they'll have the easement on it. I'll pay taxes on the land just like I do with every other piece of land we own. They get to keep this piece. They can put a gate right here, okay? Anybody can walk on that property anytime they want. They can walk right, they don't have to cross Andy's piece anymore. They can walk right there, walk down, enjoy all this wonderful bird watching and whatever else they want to do. You know, and then for this piece, they won't be allowed to drive across this piece, but this piece can turn into the landing. Anybody by boat can kayak for number 4 bridge anytime they want. It's right in proximity of that. They can land there, they can enjoy whatever they want to enjoy out there. Nobody crosses Mr. Andy's piece, nobody crosses our piece. We can put a gate up right here and a gate down here. We don't take away public access. We still provide an area with signage for people to access this parcel and still leave a landing right here that people can use. I think that's a pretty good compromise for what we're asking. You know, and we're willing to give another kayak access in Cedar Key. And Barack mentioned that he didn't know where it was. It's on the other side of the graveyard, which I might add, the city of Cedar Key just got awarded a grant where they're actually building another kayak access in the graveyard. So we're just going to be full of kayak access in Cedar Key. It'll be wonderful.
That's that cul-de-sac down there by the graveyard.
You know where when you're going down Gulf Boulevard, and the graveyard is on your right, there's a road that the county owns. It's kind of a unique piece of property. It's at the end of Indiana. The county road actually stops before it actually goes out into the water, which is an unusual situation. And the property that's on the end of it is actually property that's owned by a private individual. There's actually a kayak launch there at the moment. People use it on a regular basis. And we were willing to donate or exchange. I was going to actually approach the district, next month and actually bring them this presentation because of how sensitive this is. This would, it seems to me, and Diane and myself, that this would be a good compromise for everybody. They get a little bit, and we get a little bit.
Who owns the parcel?
Everybody's happy.
Who's the owner of record?
The one down here? I don't know the guy's name. I have it under contract right now. We're closing next week. I'm buying the parcel regardless. I was going to do a set of raceways out there. It was kind of my plan with it. And if we do this deal, I'll exchange the easement instead.
Yes.
Just correction, he said he purchased the property from Andy Andrews. For the record, it was Dennis Andrews. I don't want any confusion on that.
Apologize.
All right. We have a motion and a second. We've been on this for over an hour. I think in light of, I'm just going to make this statement. I think in light of this recent development here, in the interest and fairness to the new director of Water Management District, he has already offered to revisit this issue. Can we get an extension on our deadline for comment? According to the letter, you're requesting comment by the 1st of January. Can we push that back to allow all the parties involved to discuss their issues? Is that suitable to go along with your motion? Is your motion still in effect, I guess?
If the new director would say yes on extending the deadline for comment, then I would rescind my motion.
We're happy to provide you an extension for comment.
And that way everybody has the abilities to voice their comments and see what it is that the district would be bringing back, correct?
Correct.
So, you rescind your second, right? Okay. So with that being said, I guess we will move on, unless there's another motion. I think that this latest development is definitely a game changer for this board management district involving and the question of public access. So we'll see what the decision is from there.
I'm just curious, the latest proposal from Mr. Topping, does that retain public access for the state road twenty-four over to the
the boundary of their property.
to the boundary?
But that's for board management to work out.
I'm just trying to clarify, it doesn't give them access to the water.
No.
There's water,
It's all water.
Ms. Cannon,
Mr. Chairman, have Mr. Wallenstein tell us when his next board meeting is, please, on what day?
when's your next water management district board meeting?
January the 12th.
January 12th.
What was it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Tony,
Okay, two points of clarification. Mr. Topping, I did not use the word commercial, okay? Second thing, when the Toppings purchased this property on April 30th, 2014, of record is together with a 60-foot wide easement. So they purchased the property with the easement, okay?
thank you. Ms. Grant, do you have something?
What is the length of the extension?
I think we can, 60 days, is that in time, or how about, I think the important part would be that it would be after the January 12th meeting, anything there to provide you an update, and from that point forward, how long would you like?
When's your meeting in February? You meet quarterly, monthly?
It's the second Tuesday of each month.
So your February meeting would be,
I think it's the 8th.
the 9th, February 9th. So we would extend the comment period to February 9th.
Well, comments were requested both from the city of Cedar Key and the Aquaculture Association, and we haven't received anything except what was handed out, I guess, today from the other two agencies. I don't know if the city of Cedar Key is going to respond or not.
Everybody's responding.
You haven't seen them.
Well,
Yes,
They did come in?
yeah.
But they weren't requested to respond to us, they were requested to respond to the board management, so.
But we had asked to just be copied on ourselves.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I just,
Right,
I
that's what I-
misunderstood
that's what I was-
the motion. The motion for later water management.
The motion has been rescinded. There is no motion.
Oh, okay. There's no action.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to make something clear real quick. He asked if anybody's responded to the letter that the Swanee River Water Management District has written to these boards. And as of today, no one has responded to that letter. You understand? These comments these letters that I've given you, the one to talk about the Aquaculture Association, was a premature response to what's going on. They didn't have a chance, the full board did not have a chance to know the details of the facts of what was going on until after that letter was sent. We had a special meeting that was called by the chairman of the Aquaculture Association in response to that letter, to respond to that letter. And we were going back, they requested time to send comments to the water management district, to come to the Aquaculture Association. And they are going to write a letter of some sort, either supporting it or not supporting it, back to the water. And we're going back at the next meeting to discuss this.
Ms. Colson,
I'm sorry, I have to respond.
state your name for the record.
Sue Colson. And we did talk to Water Management District, and Mr. Dickens and Mr. Noah did accept our letter. We were, we did not mention names or property swaps or anything. We were just responding to a surplus or exchange comment. We were trying not to get into personal, names and so forth, just because we weren't going to get involved in personal arrangements.
Okay.
That, and I don't appreciate that things were not represented correctly when it was trying to be what I would call our bigger picture. There's no surplus and no exchange, no matter who it was. We were trying to stay out of that because of that arena of personality.
Okay.
And the second meeting was requested as an emergency meeting. It was not noted what the meeting was for, but it was requested by Mr. Topic. So, you know,
Okay.
it's not the chairman just came up with this and said, it was at a request. And
All right.
I just apologize, but I can't be sitting here and
Yes,
almost be subtly accused of lying.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think this matter is closed until, we have some more information. We allow the board management, the new director, to give him a chance for some input, give everybody a chance to digest the offer that was made by Mr. Topping. Give everybody a chance to address how that's going to affect the matter. And so with that being said, we're going to take a brief recess and allow people to exit and what you got, Mr.